Hello everyone, this is my project, The Happy Days. The following scene is my testing area where I test out new mechanics and just in a quick and easy environment. That way I don't have to load the world, just test out new things. Alright, starters. We have the inventory. Now you'll notice that player name is up there. Since this will be using Steam, it'll have your Steam name. But for now, since I disabled Steam at the moment, it's just going to show the computer name. Next, you have the player level. Since I'm just beginning, it's going to be level 0, with 0 XP. Next, you have the bandit and hero meter. This shows what the player's actions, whether they save people and just survive, or whether they kill people and steal things. Right, that's more that stuff. Next, we have the location. This is only available once the player's crafted a map, and then they're able to mark locations and so forth. Next is the crafting area, where the player is. This is all level based, so since level 0, the only thing I can craft is a stone knife. And the more you level up, the more you unlock. Pretty simple like that. And next is the backpack area, which will change depending on what slot they have for your backpack. At the moment it is showing empty, but default the player will spawn with a bag, which they can remove if they want. And of course the clothing slots, which only allow for clothing, and you're able to interact with your character. That way you can view all angles. Alright, let's have a little quick view. As you can see, objects, you can pick them up. And this will just be a little quick overview, pick up all these. Alright, next you'll see that some objects can stack, and others will not. You can move them around, do as you please. You can split the ones that do stack, and if you're unhappy with that, you can put them back together. Alright, also, so this is technically an axe, I just don't have an icon on it. And try and drag it in here, won't let you. But this is a beanie. Yes, again, the icon isn't properly put together. Instead I'm using the Workbench icon because it's more polished. This counts as a beanie, so it can go on. It can interchange back and forth, making for that to work. You'll also notice there's a little bar on some of them. That's to show the quality of the item, and once that quality hits 0, the item will break and be destroyed. You also realize the action text for the action menu will be different for each item. You got that one, equipped, which set it straight to there. And drink, because that's technically a health potion. Again, ignore the icons. They lie. Alright, so next, you've got your test axe, which I will show in a second. You've got your hammer, which will be used for upgrading buildings. And buildings like, drag that down. Got buildings. You get tablet, and you're able to craft your own buildings. You'll get a little square that you're able to lock onto each square, just like that. Get your own buildings. And then so far you just keep going and going and going till not anymore. You gather resources, and so far buildings will cost resources, so for now I've disabled that so I don't have to go through all that. You're able to do as you want with the resources. Crafting will check your inventory for them. Since this stone knife hasn't really been put in, it's more just to show the leveling up system. It'll give me 5 XP per click, and that's only if I can afford it. And once I do, level up. And that unlocks the wooden bow. So we'll craft the wooden bow and add it to the inventory. Alright. Now the bow, like every other weapon that uses projectiles, is physics based. So the further you are, the higher up you'll have to aim. but you'll see the square fly off to the distance because it's got no weight to it whatsoever. Just like that. You can whack whatever the hell you want. Of course, objects in the world will have different input text, like this one. Hold input for more, which would be right click, because I can put locks, or customize how I please. That way I have my own custom buildings. Alright. That would be it for this section. We will jump into the next one. Alright, so back at the actual main menu of the game. This will show the character as the player is in the certain server they have selected. As this one got no server, so nothing there for now. So we will browse the server, see if my other laptop's still alive or if it died somewhere throughout the night. And it's still there. We will join. Since it's not completely finished with the logging in setup, the player will just fall into a world and bam, world loading. Whereas when it's finished, the player will just fade from black and they will be in the world. Alright, so the AI is having a little bit of a womble, doesn't want to work today. Surprise, surprise, it's on camera, so it doesn't want to work. But here are all the AI in the game, which I've shown in my game document the picture of all of them. You've got your predators, which will attack the player, such as all them. And they do get, yield a high reward if you kill them and harvest them. You get more leather and animal fat, or you get special items like the fangs and its skull. You've also got your herbivores, which kind of roam around. They will be afraid of the player and run away if they're too close and not crouched and in their eyesight. So it's important to use stealth to your advantage, and I will also have boxes in these to allow the player to camouflage themselves from animals. But you're also able to interact with the animals, gathering items like milk. That's really what you can get from these things. Yeah, well. Yeah. And next, for another element of hunting, is the fishing. This will be, of course, level-based, so higher the level, the more you can actually fish, allowing for different things like harpoons, lobster cages, nets, fishing rods, and all sorts. So that's that. Oh, also, there will be little creatures in the grounds, like scorpions, and there was a spider somewhere. Can't remember where I put him. Somewhere in there. And they will poison the player or cause them to bleed while they're traversing the world and not careful enough. So that gives the player an extra element of danger to watch out for. Alright, next. This is an example of what you can create so far with the building aspect. Sorry for the lagging, my internet's not the best. And since this is on a server running off the other laptop's internet. Anyway, you've got double doors, single doors, different doors, which sometimes play noise, gotta fix that still. And there's my other laptop, as happy as you can be. Alright, finally, hopefully my laptop decides it wants to work this time. Show the electrical, well, discuss the electrical component. There will be electricity that the player can set up with cords to each element, so you'll get power point for each room. Won't be able to place it on each wall in the room, but it will be based for each room. And each power point will have 2 sockets that allow for 2 electrical components per room. And these sockets will have to come off a power source, such as the generator, which the player will have to either place outside or inside, and put fuel in order to keep it running. and that will give players things like light and all sorts. Next is the Workbench, which, as you can see, quite a basic model. It does change as it upgrades, you'll get more and more tools, and it will also unlock more crafting items, as some items do require a workbench in order to be crafted. That way, the player can't just craft anything they want out in the world. Yeah. Finally, the last and final feature is the disconnect from session. When the player disconnects from a session, they will leave behind a cocoon of themselves, I guess. There'll be a sleeping version that can be looted, so things in your inventory can be stolen, you can be killed, or you can, probably won't have it dragged off and captured. I can probably just do whatever. And that would be that. That is where the player will spawn, and then they'll take back their attributes and continue on life on their server. So, hopefully you enjoyed. Sorry it's very long, but quite a bit more to do. Thank you for listening.